Environment, social and governance considerations are integral for building sustainable brands. That's the word coming in from KPMG. In a conversation with CNBC-TV18's Ashmit Kumar, KPMG Global ESG Head John McCalla said that around 69% of consumers have shown willingness to pay more for products from ESG brands. McCalla added that he expects more lending products for financed emissions in the future.
69% of consumers that we surveyed out there that said that they will pay more for brands, for products whose values and beliefs are consistent with their own. But at the same time, they are struggling right now through a cost and an inflationary crisis. So ideally, what we seek to do is to support those consumers that not only want to buy and acquire sustainable brands, but also are able to do so at a price that they can afford. And this is good not only in the short term, but also in the long term.
Financing for these ESG goals has been a bit of a challenge, where we're trying to bridge the gap in between the demand, the production, and the policy understanding of the situation. How do we go about addressing this issue? Because this will be critical in terms of adoption of these ESG goals.
Well, one of the key drivers for change now are through the financial institutions. And we're seeing increasingly financial institutions, banks, I'll give you an example, for example, are seeking to understand what their current, what we call financed emissions are today. So where they are lending monies to businesses, what are those businesses doing with that funding, and how much emissions are they emitting? So this is called financed emissions. And banks are being really instrumental now in seeking to drive down those financed emissions. So this means specifically reaching out to their customers and saying, you know, if you are planning on driving your decarbonisation, this is reducing your emissions, we will package up specific products, so these are loans and so on, to help you along that way. Now, this is something which has been slow to start, but we're seeing increasingly that these financial institutions are really double down on these areas, and we see that there will be an increase in the scope, the depth, the breadth and the number of these products, which will hopefully help along that way.
At a macro level, there has been a long-standing conversation between the developed world and the developing world in terms of climate financing. How do we take that conversation forward? This is an issue, a long-standing issue. We've seemed to have hit a roadblock. How do we come over this issue? How do we resolve this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very big question, and there are a number of initiatives which are ongoing right now, all of which need to proceed, but at a far more accelerated pace. I will reference one in particular, which is regarding those large multinational development banks, such as the World Bank is an example, whereby organisations such as these, they have funding on their balance sheets to support this, but it is not nearly enough. It is not nearly enough. So you'll recall I referenced this big figure, this $275 trillion. Okay. It's nowhere near enough. So one of the things that's happening now through, for example, World Bank reform, is they are looking now in more detail about how they operate, and they're looking to not only focus on what capital is available on their balance sheets, but actually tying this to private capital. And they're saying, can we focus on specific areas, including the Global South, and can we not only invest, but can we get a 10x, a 20x, a 40x return investment by actually tying our capital with private capital? And this is now moving forwards at pace.